What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTW Podcast, Beers, Toys, and Wrasslin. I am joined by my usual group here, Lance Johnson,
Hello.
Dustin Hayward,
Yo.
and I'm proud to announce that we have added Mr. Wade Fry as our permanent fourth to this, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Finally bringing in some talent. I'm glad to be here.
No, they just needed somebody to argue with me.
Yeah, yep. This is true. We're Dustin and I are just way too passive.
All right, well, the man's out, so if there's a rumor, it's about to happen.
Okay, all right. So we'll just jump right into that. We already heard that there was going to be a rumor addressed by Becky Lynch. The reports are saying that she is pregnant. I'm not watching it right now because I don't have a TV near me. But Lance, are you and Wade watching it?
Yeah, I'm watching it, and I assume Wade is too.
I got the TV up right now. I turn on closed captioning. Let's see if anything actually starts talking.
All right. Well, so while we are waiting for that to happen, let's just do our usual thing. Go around. How's everybody's week been? Lance, go ahead. Lead us off.
Oh, she's jumping right into the announcement. But long story short, Town Branch Bourbon.
That's what we like to hear.
What did you say happened?
Town Branch Bourbon.
Oh, Town Branch Bourbon. Gotcha.
It
doesn't sound like a real thing.
Oh, it's very real and it's very delicious. For those listening, it was our co-host Lance's birthday on Friday, so everybody make sure down in the comments to wish him a happy belated.
He had a real nice dinner with the family at Bob Evans at 4:30 sharp.
No, we ordered takeout and had it at home at 3:30, so that way I had enough time for cake before bed.
Yep, gotta get in that 7:30 bedtime. You know, it's you've gone over the hill, Lance. I'm sorry. May as well fill that prescription to Geritol, and we're just getting the Depends ready, and
You filthy whippersnappers.
and we'll make sure to get off your lawn. Dustin, how about you? What has been up with you this week?
Nothing much, man. Just got to open the restaurant today. That's good times. That's helpful.
How was the first day of business? Oh,
it was good, man.
Asuka just came out, and I think they're about to award her the title. And if we get an Asuka Shayna match, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I would very much agree with that. We lost Wade here for a sec, so let's try to get him back. All right, well we're trying to do that. I'll go next. It's been another week of just staying put. I will say one thing that I haven't talked about, and I've been meaning to over the past 2 weeks, is one thing that I've been doing to fill my time a lot is with my first playthrough of the Mass Effect games.
Nice.
Gotten through 1 and 2, and I just can't believe the amount of replayability in these games. I even went out and I'll save that for what we got this week. But needless to say, it has been all-consuming. I'm obsessed with it. Still doing the Dungeons and Dragons campaign with some friends, and that's fun. In fact, I'm mirroring one of my character off of one of the Mass Effect characters, Garrus. I am a Dragonborn rogue, and it has been keeping me. Those two things have been keeping me sane throughout the week. So, let's see if we can find out what's going on with Wade.
So, just for a quick note, what happened with Raw is Becky did announce that the Money in the Bank ladder match last evening was not for the contract, it was for the title, and she just gave it to Asuka. And yeah, Becky Lynch is pregnant. She just told Asuka, "You go be a champion, and I'm gonna go be a mother." So there we go.
Excellent.
That's how we open Raw. That's a feel-good moment. I like that. Jen, that means that you and Becky Lynch and our dog Penny will all be pregnant in the same year, and probably, is she gonna give birth? No, she'll give birth probably 2021. No, probably do. Yeah, there we go. Our baby could have the same birthday as Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins' baby.
There we go. All right, I'm sorry, guys. My all I heard was I opened the restaurant and then silence.
That's all good, man. What Lance just filled us in on what happened. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, good on her. It depends on what route she's going to take. Is she going to leave and be like a Brie Bella and kind of not anymore and just be a mom, or is she going to take a year off and come back at like the Royal Rumble or something like that and be white hot?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's going to come back after this. You know, you look at ladies like Lacey Evans, who's a part of her character is built around being a mom, and I think this is not going to be the end of Becky at all.
I think Becky will come back off and on, but I think this is probably close to the end of her in-ring career. And let me give you a reason why, is if you see what happened with Ronda, they had to build Becky up to be an unbeatable force to take out Ronda, but then she went on this run that was untouched. So I think she went to the powers that be, said, hey, this is eventually the plan, and the powers that be said, all right, we're going to give you an epically long title run, and when it happens, when you're done, is when you're done, and here's this epic kind of going away present.
See, now I disagree with that, because if you're trying to get pregnant, the last thing you're going to do is purposefully be bouncing around the ring doing dumb shit.
I disagree. You can do that until you are pregnant.
If you're going out of your way to try to get pregnant, you think that's a good thing to do to your body?
No, not entirely. No, but it's safe until a certain point. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's have Dr. Wade provide his expert medical advice.
It's not expert medical advice. You're saying that if she went to Vince and told him that she wants to be a mother and she's actively trying to get pregnant, and they put her on a run until she said she was pregnant. If she's actively trying to get pregnant, you're pregnant for X amount of weeks or whatever before a positive pregnancy test.
Right. And when was the last? No. You're pregnant in terms of when you're pregnant in before a pregnancy test. It's like 4 weeks.
Right. So if you're purposefully trying to have a baby and you're having problems having a baby, whether or not they are or not, they're not going to. That would be very dumb of her to purposely try to get pregnant and still be bouncing around the ring taking bumps and things like that.
After the baby is more developed, yes, I agree with you. However, before that, no. And when was the last time Becky Lynch had an actual match? She hasn't been in the ring for a month because the last time she had a match was at WrestleMania.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
if she found out and she knew she was at 4 weeks at some point, right? And she would have known that she would have 4 weeks, probably around, depending on where she is in her pregnancy, she's definitely not showing right now. She's, you want to say, if she's not showing, then she's probably less than 20 weeks pregnant at this point.
Right.
Can
I agree
still
with you that
be
actually
in
it's
the
happened.
ring. You obviously aren't taking shots to the abdomen, but you can still be in the ring to a certain point. And she reached that point. That's why we haven't seen her wrestle or at any of the pay-per-views. That's why last night there was no women's championship match or Raw women's championship match because it was the Money in the Bank.
Right. And I'm saying, I'm just disagreeing with you that they had a plan to do this.
I absolutely think they did. As soon as Becky went to Vince, so Becky and Seth probably knew before they went to Vince, but as soon as they went to Vince and told him what happened, which was probably at or around WrestleMania, this was the plan. But Becky knew before WrestleMania, yes. And on medical advice, you can still be athletic until a certain point.
I have to agree that they probably knew this was happening before this evening. What I'm now curious about is, okay, so Asuka gets the championship because she won Money in the Bank. Is someone else going to get a title shot? Are they going to do maybe a rematch of, for the Money in the Bank women's case, or are they just done with it until the next year?
No,
Yeah,
they
they should do a number
Money
one
in the Bank
contender
match
too.
was for the Raw Women's title. So there is not going to be another Money in the Bank shot, but now we need a challenger to step up for Asuka, which you've got Shayna, you've got Nia, who Asuka's beaten multiple times before in NXT. You've got Shayna, who Asuka hasn't faced a ton. I think the first time they faced off was in that Elimination Chamber, because I don't think Shayna fought Asuka before Asuka left NXT, but I could be wrong. And then you've got the possibility of Ronda Rousey returning. If Ronda's having trouble and it's not going Ronda's way, and then I think that would be kind of fitting, actually, to have Ronda come back in, have Asuka unfortunately be a transitional champion, but have Ronda come back in and then carry the title.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely makes sense. You need someone to fill Becky's shoes of that caliber of character, and Ronda definitely fits the bill.
Well, did Asuka just do a face turn now, do we think?
I don't know that she necessarily did a face turn,
But she
but
just broke
gave her the championship. She congratulated Becky, and then she did her dance and danced off.
But I think that if you guys are right, I think that Shayna Baszler is going to be the first one to get the rub, because she was featured for a full 2 minutes of the pay-per-view last night. She didn't get to do anything. She choked out Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Shayna more in that match last night, but yeah, like I said, I think you've got your options. It's either Shayna, it's Nia, or it's Ronda, and I would prefer Shayna out of all of them. But I think if you're trying to get eyes on the product, Ronda puts butts in seats. Ronda sells tickets.
You think
Being
Ronda's
said,
current-
I think Shayna is probably the best out of all of them, other than Asuka.
Do you think Ronda's recent comments are how she kind of really feels, or do you think she's just starting to play up a potential return?
I don't think it matters either way.
I think that whole thing was a little bit of a work.
Whether Ronda really feels that way or not doesn't even matter. The fact is, again, it's all a work, right? It's all to get eyes on the product, everything that happens. Additionally, given Ronda's status, anything she says is ultimately going to be reported like that.
Oh, no, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that she's just enough of a wrestling outsider that she would just put her foot in her mouth and say some really dumb shit, just just to say it.
I don't know about that, because if you listen to how, and again, this could be because they're instructed to do this, we don't know. But if you listen to how all of the women that were in WWE at the time when Ronda came in talk about Ronda, they say she's very, very humble. She's looking to learn. She's hungry to learn. And she's trying to, initially there was that view of her in the locker room as aloof, and she's just trying to come in and just make a quick buck and stuff like that. But as they got to know her more, they realized that wasn't the case. So I don't, I think with Ronda, the way that she is and the way her personality is, everything's a work. Even when it's a shoot, it's a work.
Fantastic, absolutely.
All right, so before we jump right into to the Money in the Bank recap that we're gonna do, Wade, when you dropped out, I was just asking everybody how their week has been. So, how you doing, man?
Oh, it's been not a bad week. Up here in Michigan, the weather is like 70 and sunny, and then 40 degrees and snowing, and then
Same.
And then I work outside for the most part, so like it's just bananas all the time. I leave the house in like warm weather gear, and then I'm sweating in an hour, or I'll be like, I don't know today, and then I'm dying an hour later.
Yeah, so weather's been weird here too. We had snow a day and a half ago, and it's just been up and down all over the place. One thing I do want to address real quickly, and I don't know where your guys' states are at, but our governor has announced a few reopening dates for stuff. I believe yesterday was the date, or actually no, sorry, today. Today's the 11th.
Okay. Yeah.
That some retail outlets can start reopening. Again, they got to take precautions, monitor the amount of people in the store, and face masks, pretty much mandatory all around the board. And then the 18th is when we're going to see restaurants reopening with outdoor seating only. And I know one of the places that I frequent is doing it by reservation only, because there are just a limited number. They have their patio and they're setting up an extra tent. So that's happening in a week. Dustin, you said that your restaurant is open today.
Yep, we can do it. We can do 50% capacity. And everyone's required to wear face masks and gloves and things of that nature. And we had to do a whole bunch of stuff to be able to open. But yeah, today was our.
Imagine.
What kind of restaurant is it, Dustin?
Huh?
What kind of restaurant is it?
It's like a breakfast diner place.
Okay. We call them Coney Islands around here.
Right on.
So how about other businesses around you, Dustin? Was today just a big general reopen with all the restrictions put in place?
No, they started last week was the start of like retail. Okay. So retail and stuff of that nature got to open last week, and then today was restaurants and bars but nobody can sit at the bar yet, which is weird. But and I think hairdressers and stuff were allowed to open, but by appointment only.
Exactly. Yep.
And then on the 24th, the gyms will be allowed to open again, and that's my next mark I'm waiting on because I haven't been to the gym in like 2 months.
I need to come to the states. Michigan, Governor Whitmer has been causing all sorts of problems for President Trump and things like that. But she's got the people that she got the Second Amendment guys coming to the Capitol with their guns and stuff like that, trying to prove their point. But our state is still shut down. She just opened up parks, and nurseries where you could go buy flowers, and we're still shut down till May the 28th.
Interesting. Is there any sort of capacity limitation for the parks?
No, it's just as long as you maintain a distance. I mean, we've gone for bike rides. There's a state park local to me. We've gone. The family's gone for bike rides and stuff like that. But when you get near the public areas, like because we're right on Lake Erie, the beach, and then the playground, it's all still got like caution tape.
Crazy. I know, and I'm almost surprised to hear about your situation, Dustin, because you're a couple of steps ahead of us. I mean, it's statewide that people can't sit indoors in the restaurants, and that's it's weird.
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, our governor gave basically he gave out the guidelines to work with, and then the mayors of the cities can decide beyond that if places can open or if they can't open or what restrictions they're under. Like the next town over from me is like you're required to wear a face mask in any enclosed building. But in my city, it's not a requirement for general public, only employees.
All right. Well, this thing seems to be changing on a weekly basis, so we'll see where we're at next week. All right, so let's dive right into Money in the Bank. Lance, why don't you go ahead and lead us off with your thoughts?
I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty good. So depending on where you want to start it, I think the pre-show match was Cesaro and
Jeff.
Yeah. That was good. And then you led right into the Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Men's Tag Team Championship, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, so let's do this like we did Mania. We'll do it match by match, and everyone go around what they thought of it. So we'll start with the Fatal 4-Way.
All right.
I'll start off. I'm sorry, I didn't get to catch the Fatal 4-Way. I don't think we turned the pay-per-view on until Seth Rollins and
McIntyre.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I was going to say, the Scottish Psychopath. I was thinking everything else.
All right, so the Fatal 4-Way, it was New Day, Miz and Morrison, Lucha House Party, and I forgot them.
Oh, Forgotten Sons.
Yeah, I know. That was the point.
Okay.
I will honestly
I'm a little
say
thick. What can I say?
the thing that I miss most about the Forgotten Sons in NXT is the "We Forgot You" chant. I think that was probably the best part of their act, even though that was the crowd. It was really, really good, actually. The entire match, every time everything started to pick up and like Lucha House Party or Kofi or Morrison were going to pull off some high-risk shenanigans, there was the Forgotten Sons right there to ground them. It was a really good effort by the Forgotten Sons in general. I think that Morrison obviously has some great lucha background, and with the lucha guys pulled off some insane stuff. The end of the match was amazing. It was fast paced. It looked like Lucha House Party could have won the match, and then at the end you had not Lindsay, who's the Grand Metalik, ending up attempting to do something off the top rope, being caught by Big E, and Big E gives him the big ending while Kofi hits Lindsay with Trouble in Paradise to pick up or to retain the titles, and it was, I gotta say, that the ending sequence in that match was insane.
Yeah, I agree. It's we need more matches like that during these times, because I almost forgot there wasn't a crowd while watching this match, just because there was so much going on. It was so quick. It was spot after spot after spot, or Forgotten Sons were doing their bullshit and preventing spot after spot after spot, and it was really well done. Go ahead, Wood.
You guys feel like the people that you're naming off, wrestlers like Kofi and Big E, the New Day in general, and like The Miz, people that like they have in-ring talent, but most of their character is derived from thriving off the crowd. Do you feel like they're suffering in this wrestling? Like right now, Street Profits are on TV. They go off. They're mostly, I feel like they're good wrestlers, but like they thrive off the crowd more than anything.
See, I don't think it's hurt the New Day as much, because the New Day is just damn no matter what's going on. You watch Big E. Big E's doing the same stuff. It doesn't matter if there's one person there or nobody there. Kind of see it hitting Miz a little bit, but yeah, Miz is so good at being such a shit-eating heel that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. At least to me, anyway.
And my take on your question there, Wade, is sort of the same. It's dependent on the crowd, on the performer rather, and I don't know. I think I don't think they are suffering too much. Dustin,
like the Miz plays up to the crowd. Like his whole character, heel or face, is the must-see superstar. Blah blah blah. Like he's 100% like he's a great talent. He's a good talent, not a great talent, but he definitely is a crowd pleaser. You know what I mean? Like good or bad.
Yeah.
I think ways around that and putting him on commentary. Now, when he's in a match, it's a little bit different, but he's still going on. Like you can still. One of the things that I like that WWE started doing is they started leaving the migrophones that were around the ring on, like they had done in the
Mixed Match
Challenge, yeah. So you can still hear so while Miz isn't necessarily playing for the crowd, you can still hear him playing the character in the ring. And Morrison joins with him. In fact, I think if anything, Morrison would be character-wise dead in the water if it weren't for the Miz, because the Miz is the one that's constantly running his mouth.
It's funny you said that about the microphones. Just a real quick addendum. The UFC was this weekend, and one of the there's no crowd. They're not playing to a crowd, and one of the fighters heard Daniel Cormier, who was on commentary. It's so quiet in the thing. Greg Hardy heard Daniel Cormier go, "Man, he keeps getting knocked by that left kick. He needs to slip it," and like whatever he said. Well, it's so quiet that the fighter heard him and adjusted and ended up like knocking the guy out.
That's awesome.
Well,
Well, I
like,
mean,
he goes, I can hear you, and I can hear you while we're fighting, you know, giving live commentary, but you were actually helping me during the fight. You didn't know.
I mean, it's WWE again. They've been playing up the same thing. So we'll get into it later on tonight. But there's another match later on tonight where the actual wrestler was having an ongoing feud with Michael Cole while Michael Cole was on commentary.
Michael Cole, poor Michael Cole.
I will always remember Michael Cole as the guy that The Rock put his merchandise over while he was giving an interview. Like, that will forever be Michael Cole to me.
Where's Hermie at? Where's he? Yeah, I've not seen him in years.
Where's who?
Remember The Rock called him Hermes or Hermaphrodite? You called him Hermaphrodite. What was his name?
Oh,
was it Kevin Kelly?
Kevin, what's his name?
Dunn? No.
I forget his last name. It's
Kevin. I vaguely remember the promos, but I forget the guy.
I don't know what he's doing now. Maybe Van Vliet has an interview or something with him.
Maybe. Dustin, how about yourself? Did you catch the Fatal 4-Way tag match?
No, I'm with Wade. Like, I turned that shit on probably around the Ron Killings thing.
Oh, R-Truth.
AKA the best thing going in the WWE right now.
Fucking A, isn't he?
So after the tag match, did we have what was next? Was that the women's championship?
You know what? I'd honestly have to look it up because I didn't write it down tonight.
I didn't.
And
So to go back a little bit though about the not having the crowd there and hurting the wrestlers, I think it doesn't hurt the wrestlers as much as it hurts like the people watching. Because like we're smart enough to know people aren't there, and when they're looking around in the no crowd, it's fucking weird.
Oh, I get that part. I'm just saying, like people like The Miz or like Drew McIntyre when he counts down the thing now. Like The Miz has been doing it for a decade now, and he's so used to cues from the crowd.
Oh right. Yeah, I see what you mean now.
It's just got to be weird. You know, it doesn't. I don't think it affects his character on TV. It's like you're just so used to. All right, I'm going to do this. They're going to cheer, or
right.
Nobody's doing the 10 punches in the corner right now. I guess I should say.
Right. Yeah, it affects me while I'm watching it because I'm like, it's so hard.
I get it. I do. And to a degree, I do agree with you that some of their stuff they're doing is better. I like how all the talent's evolving a little bit during all this. When it first started with no crowds, it's like they were just pretending that there was a big crowd there, and it was just awkward and difficult to watch. Now, more often than not, they're talking to the hard camera, which I've noticed WWE also did what AEW did, and you pointed this out to me, Dustin. The hard camera is now facing the entrance.
Yep. A week after AEW did it, WWE changed their format.
Yeah, and that helps a lot. And again, people are starting to give promos to the camera instead of to this, imaginary crowd. So it's getting a little bit better, just not sure fast enough. So
right.
Looking at the card, looks like, huh?
Oh, I've got the card up if you want to move to the next match.
Oh yeah, wasn't that the MVP R-Truth segment?
Yeah, the R-Truth Bobby Lashley thing.
That was the thing to happen in the whole show. I'm just gonna go out and say it. That was the best part of the entire pay-per-view.
It was fantastic. It was so great.
The accidental slap.
Wait for R-Truth to go after Tom Brady. I mean, is there anything more I'm a New England Patriots fan. I'm not going to lie. I'm from the area. I grew up a Patriots fan. I was a Patriots fan way before the Patriots were the evil empire. I just want to watch R-Truth try and go after Tom Brady. Like, that would be fantastic.
He's the one guy that can come out and try to rap to the crowd and give the crowd cues and talk to the crowd, and no one's there, and I'm fucking dying.
Oh yeah,
he's such an amazing talent. I love Ron Killings so much. I wish they'd. I wish they'd have him do more, but at the same time, he's taking what he's been given and just running with it amazingly.
Well, that's why we like him. If Vince really liked what he was doing and then he starts stuffing him down our throat like Hornswoggle, you're like, Vince, like, oh, it's a midget. Hilarious. Just keep forcing it on the people.
That's good shit.
Yeah, it's good shit. Now, I didn't catch that match, but the promo afterwards when he's like, because didn't Bobby Lashley attack R-Truth?
Well, Bobby Lashley came out. It was about to be a match between MVP and R-Truth. Yeah. And then Lashley came out, told MVP to take the night off, and R-Truth went in this whole thing like, well, hell, I'm gonna take the night off too.
Right. And then he turned real fast and swung his arms and accidentally slapped Bobby Lashley across the fucking face.
Well, the promo afterwards when she's like, what do you think about your match with MVP? He's like, MVP lost a lot of weight. He's like, MVP got real fast. Like, what?
And because Gronk still has the 24/7 championship, I would not doubt for a second that there's a possibility that WWE will do a segment with the Bucks since it's in Florida. Granted, it's quite a ways away. It's on the other side of the Florida coast there in Tampa.
That's
but I could.
Center is though, right? I mean, like
it's like a couple-hour drive, right?
I mean, it's not like from Florida to Connecticut. That's for sure.
Yeah. And they all live in Florida, right? All the wrestlers, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Everyone who's doing weekly shows are living in Orlando right now. But I could totally see them do a thing, and I don't know. I'd like to think, Brady is game enough to be part of the joke.
Oh
yeah. Brady's weird. Like it's really a coin toss.
Brady's not weird.
Brady's weird. Like you either get the Captain America really cool Brady, or you get like the vegan kiss his dad on the lips Brady. Like,
no, I think so. Here, growing up in the area, you have to know what's what, right? So good example, wrestling, right? Randy Orton, because they happen to be going back through Orton and Edge on Raw, right? You see Randy Orton being nice with his kids and his wife, and then he comes onto Raw and he's beating up Beth Phoenix, right?
Right.
It's kind of the same mentality. Brady under the Patriots, you have to understand the Patriots and Belichick are very much the Patriot way. You do things this one way, it's the right way, and that's your public image all the time. Brady for years has been showing quote unquote cracks in that public image by showing who he is. And the parts of who he is are not those parts that are going to damage the Patriot way. It's not like, I don't know, Aaron Hernandez. So it's you see a little bit of who Brady is in the kissing of the kids and the vegan and the homemade avocado ice cream or whatever the hell else, TB12 and all of that stuff. But when he's in front of cameras, that's when he is Captain America.
Yeah, I've heard similar things about the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like, you want to be a Yankee, you're going to be clean shaven, you're going to be there, you're going to be like, you're going to show up.
That was entirely true. And you were on steroids too, but that's a whole different thing.
Whatever, just because your neck's bigger than your thigh, who cares?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know what? To kind of switch gears just a tad bit for a second, I'm actually looking forward to seeing him play down in Florida. It's going to be an entirely different situation, and he's National League, so not National League, National Conference. So we won't have to worry about him until interplay game. We're not facing them this year at all, so it'll be interesting.
West this year.
Say again?
We've got the NFC West this year, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yep. All right. So I think does that finish up that match?
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. I think we've actually talked about that match longer than that.
Then it actually went on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Still best match.
So then after that was the women's championship, Tamina and Bailey, and look, I don't mean to disrespect the women talent at all, but this was kind of a pee break match.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
disagree.
Okay, tell us why.
Okay, so back earlier when I alluded to the mics around the ring being on and you can hear the talent, I think there's a couple of things going on, right? So Bailey Tamina the match itself isn't necessarily the story. So I can completely understand why people are like, this clearly isn't the story. I know it's not the story. I'm going to check out. The story here is the slow burn that they've been doing for years of the breakup of Bailey and Sasha and that feud. They've been building to that. That's actually one of their better long-running storylines.
No, they've not turned heel on each other, either one of them, over the years. It's never.
It'll happen. They did it.
No, I know it'll happen. I'm saying that like Sasha Banks seems to turn heel like the Big Show turns heel.
Sasha Banks. All right, so perfectly. Sasha Banks is the better heel.
Absolutely.
Sasha Banks is a phenomenal heel. The problem right now is that Bailey is not heel, or Bailey is heel rather. So it'll end up happening. One of them's going to turn on the other one, but this is the story that they've been telling for years, is that slow burn, that will they, won't they? Are we going back to what happened to NXT, or in NXT rather, where they ended up with what is still considered one of the best women's matches in all of WWE history in their Iron Woman match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1, I believe. It was insane. It was crazy.
I feel like Bailey's never lived back up to that since. Like she's a good wrestler, but in the pool of women's talent right now, she is not. It's like she's the worst of the best. You know what I mean? Like
she's the worst of the four horsewomen. Because if you look at the four horsewomen, yeah, I get it. And Bailey did the job to Asuka in NXT on her way out. And yeah, is Bailey the best? I'm going to say no. Is she one of the better women in that ring? I'm going to say yes, and here's why. So when I alluded to earlier the person that was having an ongoing feud with Michael Cole during the entire match, it was Bailey. So this story, if you take this match for just this match, is it a great match? No. But if you look at this match in the terms of the overall story, I think it's a really good match, and I think it works just fine.
And I didn't look at it that way, as this just as a strictly storytelling element to that saga. And when you put it like that, I can understand it a little more. It doesn't make me necessarily like the match anymore, but I understand it more.
And that's fine. It's a chapter in a book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not all of them are winners.
Well, Sasha Banks is going to turn on her, and you think Bailey's going to be the one to turn face. She's like John Cena. You know, it's weird to see her as a heel.
It is weird to see her as a heel, but she made her name as a face as this little bubbly girl, you know, with the side ponytail and everything, and
now she's wrestling Karen.
And now she's Karen, and if I don't know whether they're necessarily going to have her give that up overnight because so many people are having a lot of fun with it.
She's really good as Karen. Not gonna lie. I'm actually enjoying her heel run. So I think it's gonna be Sasha that ends up turning face. Which
I agree. Based on her kind of body language and everything she did during this match. You know, we had Tamina and Bailey, who are, you know, Tamina's mostly worked heel anyway, and you had Bailey who's working heel. It just that was the first thing that just didn't work well for me. But if there had to be I'm using air quotes here, good guy of the match, Sasha was leaning on that a bit more.
I'm trying to think of the classic WWE trope. So Sasha's going to win some sort of battle royal to be the number one contender to fight Bailey, and then Bailey's going to turn on her. Like, I'm trying to think of like the one of like three situations where that could happen or whatever.
No,
you know, she's going to get over the top.
I think it's going to be different. I think Sasha's going to turn on Bailey, but when Sasha does it, she's the heel, and she's going to be like, I've tried to bite my tongue, like I just can't take it anymore, and like you are not the person that you were before you won the title. And I think that's entirely true to the story. I think we've seen Bailey go through this transition, and Sasha now seeing that transition from the other side is just going to be done with it.
I almost like when we talk about Bailey, like I almost akin someone's popularity to like T-shirt sales. Like I would, you know, I can see so many kids, young girls mostly, with like the happy smiley face Bailey. You know what I mean? Like, so who's buying like heel Bailey shirts? Like,
you don't.
I wonder what her T-shirt sales are nowadays.
Heels aren't there to sell merch. Heels are there to make the face look good, so the face sells merch.
No, they're all there to sell merch.
Meh.
Good. I think Sasha has the more. Marketable. If we're going by what you're saying, merch sales, you know, between the glasses, the boss ring,
on hair,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, she is definitely more marketable, and as a face, while she doesn't do it as well as she does her heel work, I think it all comes down to marketability there.
I think what ends up happening is Sasha's going to turn on Bailey before SummerSlam, and Sasha would have, if SummerSlam still happens, which given the state of things in Massachusetts, because it's in Boston this year, is questionable. If SummerSlam were to have happened it would probably be the Fleet Center, right? So if SummerSlam was going to happen, I think that the climax of the heel turn would be Sasha taking the title at SummerSlam in Boston for the crowd pop. Now that we're not going to get that, is that still the plan? I don't know, but I have a feeling that was at one point the plan.
I could see that happening, definitely. Dustin, yourself, did you watch any of this?
No.
No. Right. You said you came in during Seth and Drew.
No,
right?
that Wade came in during Seth. Like I had it on, but like the match was crap to me, and I just didn't pay attention.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah. As a like I said, as a plot device moment, I can understand it more. So next was the Universal Championship match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
All right. So this one I enjoyed. I enjoyed a lot. I was disappointed that the network was being a little wonky. So I kind of had to skip around a little bit, but I saw 95% of it.
It sucks they had to use. Normally, it feels like when somebody wins the title, especially like if they're a newer title holder after Mania, I almost feel like their first one or two challengers are just like Kane or the Big Show. Someone who's like, oh my God, they're a legitimate threat, but like, you know, they're not going to give the championship to. Like,
yeah, no, it's someone to you know,
make
someone
give them the
exactly. A well-established guy who can put the newer champ over and make him look good.
Well, why have Seth Rollins? Why have Drew McIntyre kick out at one? You know what I mean? Like on Seth Rollins, like you're not doing Seth Rollins any favors.
I think that's the next match.
That's
right
the
now.
next match. We're on Wyatt and
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, hey, it's all good.
Clearly, that match did not make enough of an impression on you.
But this whole thing was great. You know, Bray Wyatt is the master of long-term storytelling. And
oh, can I call hypocrisy on this one?
Okay.
Based off of what you just said. So if we're going on the fact of long-term storytelling, and I'm not disagreeing with you about Bray, and I, as a storytelling device, I enjoyed this match. The match itself was wonky as hell. But from a storytelling standpoint, this match was wonderful. Now, here's where I call his hypocrisy. If you're going to praise this match for its long-term storytelling,
I should have done the same with the women's match.
Talk about the long-term storytelling and how that was the actual story in the prior match with Sasha and Bayley. You're just spewing hypocritical BS.
Well, as I said, I didn't look at it that way. I didn't look at the women's match that way. And I honestly did not think of it as a storytelling device. This, because I'm so used to Bray having a lot of those moments, for me it was easier to see in this instance.
Yeah, no, because they built it up like that. With Sasha and Bayley, they haven't had the same kind of build up in terms of packages and promos and things like that. It's a slower burn below the surface, almost like when Braun initially was with the Wyatt family, right? You saw those cracks starting to form. It didn't quite come out yet, but you saw little things here and there. And that's where Sasha and Bayley are. They've just been dragging it out longer. And again, I enjoyed both matches. So I'm not taking I don't want to take anything away from anybody, but they're both based on long-term storytelling. Because if you look at that match, like go back and watch that match, like that match is not great. It's long. It's almost like a movie almost, with some of the weird pauses. And a lot of the mind games.
And I think that's why I enjoyed it a little bit, because it was kind of like a live version of the Funhouse, not done nearly as well, but to that ilk.
With that match, are they starting to try to treat the Fiend kind of like they do
the
Finn Balor's Demon?
Yeah.
Where like he's only going to come out when he absolutely needs to, or like?
I don't think so. I think they're trying to
weaker form. Blah blah blah.
I think there's a more consistent duality going on with Wyatt. I think they're going to use the two a little more often. Balor just they didn't let the demon character be used enough, and it just, because they used it only like twice a year, it while they were trying to make it seem special, it's like they went too far, and you almost, for me anyways, it's like you almost kind of didn't care at that point because it was just so seldomly used.
No, I'd argue that it was a special treat. Like, it's almost like the demon should be used the way Brock Lesnar should be used, like this unbeatable, kind of like the Undertaker. You know, like the demon should be in that same, definitely not held as in high regard, but like when the demon shows up, you know what I mean? Like some crazy shit's going to happen. Like that's what it should be.
And okay, and on that note, I'd agree with you there. I just felt like it needed to be just a little more often, not like once a month, but
so
I feel like more than twice a
in,
year.
I think that the way they are using the Fiend is the way they should have used the Demon. And if you watch the end, so once you get to the end of that match and you've got Wyatt in the corner, you see after he's been beaten, that change, and you saw it at points throughout the match. So I think one of the things that Wyatt is doing excellently well is throwing those little nuggets in there. So that way you can see, okay, yeah, he's happy-go-lucky, kind of weird Mr. Rogers guy. And then there's this flash of him transitioning, him starting to go to that place. And I think that's one of the things that they really didn't do well with the Demon. And I think it's because mostly they didn't get how to use that kind of character.
Yeah, Finn Balor just announced you're fighting the Demon at WrestleMania. You're like, all right, thanks.
If they had made the Demon have more, not necessarily matches, but at least appearances, like the Fiend has, just remind us
to ask.
Say again?
That's a lot of paint to ask for just appearances.
I get it, but
they can afford the paint. It's fine.
Yeah. Pyro is back. They can afford paint, or at least it was back. At least give us reminders that he still exists, and then use him when it's critical, and that you need an unstoppable force.
Right. I think the probably the best job they did with the Demon is when he first came out. The introduction was a little clunky because that promo was a little clunky, sure, but when the Demon first appeared to fight Seth Rollins, that was the absolute best.
The first Universal match or whatever, like the Universal title match? That was a great match, and the Demon was perfect for that.
Yeah, it was perfect. He was like, you don't know this side of me, but you're going to find out. And even what was it, the Raw before on the Go Home show when the Demon just came out, like they didn't do anything, but the Demon was just there. Again, that's how they should have used the Demon from the get-go.
Exactly.
And I think Wyatt is a smart enough performer to have learned from that. And the thing with the Fiend is that Wyatt's calling the creative shots. Or at least he started out. Is he still? I don't know. But I think based on especially that last match, he probably is, because like Nate, you said, there are all those storytelling elements in there. And that match is 100% storytelling, because God knows it was not wrestling excellent.
No.
That Wyatt isn't a bad wrestler. Wyatt's a great wrestler. He's great in ring. Strowman is all right. I mean, he's Strowman. Yeah. He's your typical WWE big man.
That's where he excels though, because Strowman, it seems like Strowman never tries to work outside of his moveset. Every once in a while, like some of these big guys will try. They're like, oh, I'm gonna give this a try. Like Strowman, like don't be starting to do moonsaults and shit like that.
Yeah. No, I perfectly agree with you, and I think
like when Brock Lesnar attempted the shooting star press and almost killed himself and Kurt.
Brock was doing that in OVW for years before he almost killed himself against Kurt.
Oh, I know. I know he was.
But he hadn't done it in years when he did it against Kurt, is the other thing, because they have this pigeonhole. I want you to work this way instead of how do you feel more comfortable working. And I think we talked about that previously, especially with Luke Harper. Now, Mr. Brody Lee, not at all Vince McMahon, not Vince. In AEW, if you watch him now in AEW, even though he's in mostly squash matches, there are way more things that he pulls off that if you just watched him in WWE, you would have no idea he was capable of.
Well, they always say, I've always read in the IWC about some of these wrestlers, like Kevin Owens, like you will be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then you come here and they have to teach you the WWE way, like wrestle towards the fixed camera and do this and do that. These words are banned. I think they just said that. I just read on the internet that like Vince just recently banned the words non-title match. You're not allowed to say that.
You
know what I mean?
Interesting. I haven't heard that.
I hadn't heard that either, but I wouldn't doubt it either.
Same thing as calling the belt the strap. Like you're not allowed to call it the strap or the belt. It's called like the title, like the world heavyweight title or
the championship or something like that. Yeah.
You have to address it by its name.
Yeah. I find the Roman Reigns one to be most interesting. I've got a separate theory on it that we can go into later. But
they're not allowed to talk about Roman Reigns?
Yeah. So the rumor is because he pulled out of the title match at WrestleMania 3 weeks before the title match that he's got heat on him and that his name is now banned. I don't think that's true because the initial idea for Mania, depending on who you read and who you believe, was going to be Reigns versus The Fiend, and Reigns was going to go over at WrestleMania. Then Brock Lesnar came back. Or I'm sorry, not Brock Lesnar. Then Goldberg was there, and they were like, "Hey, if we want to get butts in the seats, what's a better match? Oh, more people know Goldberg. They just signed the TV deal. Yeah, they want to bring more people in, and I get that from a business standpoint. But I think that they're keeping Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' name is not on TV, not because of the fact that he pulled out of the WrestleMania match. I think they literally want people to forget about him because Strowman is going to be a transitional champion. Bray is going to end up as the Fiend, taking the title off of Strowman, and then Bray is just going to reign over SmackDown again like he has. Now remember, too, after every match, the thing that happens with whoever's fighting Bray, whether it's Bray or the Fiend, they go through some sort of change. We saw that last night with Strowman. At the end of the match, he was angry, out of control monster, like he was back when he was with the Wyatt family, right? Now you've got Bray. Bray's going to come in, take advantage of that, take the title, and then ultimately it's going to lead to Roman Reigns coming back. Because if you keep him off TV, you forget about him, right? Well, out of sight, out of mind. And that's going to make it that much bigger when Roman beats Bray for the title.
Roman Reigns was also on Insta. Like he just said, with the coronavirus coupled with his compromised immune system, and his wife just gave birth to like twins, maybe a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. Like he just said that like it was not some interview. It might have been Instagram. Like he was doing a video himself. He just was one of those like looking saying, "Listen, I had to make the decision that was best for my family, and I think that all those things coupled together, he wasn't going to get himself, his wife, or any of his kids sick because he was a big fighter before the pandemic about pulling this shit down for the coronavirus. So I think Vince is trying to keep his name out of everybody's mouth because they don't want the opposite of what you're saying. They don't want anybody to get their hopes up about him coming back when at any time I think Roman could walk away from wrestling and be okay. Like he'd be okay with himself, he'd be okay money wise.
Oh, he can walk away from wrestling, be okay. But
all this, you know what I mean? If he looks at Vince, because Vince is double bird, says, "Listen, I'm about to have twins, and I'm not putting them in harm's way for WrestleMania." So like, you know, like when does that ever happen to Vince besides like Warrior trying to hold him hostage? You know, so
I agree. I don't think that Roman has any kind of heat on him backstage at all. And again, all your points are valid. I think though that at this point they don't want his name on TV, so you forget about him. They want you to forget about him. That way, think about Triple H. When Triple H came back in 2010, after he tore something or other, and the pop that he got on that Monday Night Raw when he walked out, his music hit. There's nothing bigger in wrestling than the return of somebody who's been gone for a while.
But that wasn't an angle, and I don't think Vince is playing this as an angle. I think Vince is really just playing this close to the chest, and he's like, someone's trying to play both sides. Because with Vince, it's all about, you know, with me, it seems like it's all about money to Vince. If I were a man, you know, so he's Roman Reigns right now is completely up in the air as to whether or not if he's going to return, when he's going to return. You know, like, so I
don't think the if is up in the air. I think the when is up in the air, and I'll agree with you on that. But I don't think the if. I think it's a matter of when, and when he returns, Vince wants to make sure that the audience has, you know, gotten invested in all of these other guys, so that way when Roman does return, you get that pop and you get that big payoff of yet another Roman Reigns title run, which, if you remember, prior to him getting leukemia again, a Roman Reigns title run was not necessarily beloved by everybody that showed up.
Oh, everybody hated him till he left. Absolutely. And then we were all very sad that he got sick and had to leave. And we're like, well, wait a second. We still want to boo you, but why are you leaving?
Yeah, and then he came back and he's like, I'm back, everybody. And we're like, okay, now we like you.
So, I think that it stinks. It stinks like putting somebody like Braun Strowman needs to say the same thing as the point I was making with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. It stinks that Braun Strowman didn't have somebody to kind of just showcase to run over. Almost kind of like when Brock Lesnar fought Ricochet. Like Ricochet they both made each other look like $1 million, but like you knew in your heart that Ricochet had 0 points.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, why not something like you're right here? Like, why not somebody like Bobby Lashley? Bobby Lashley's all over the place right now. Like, why? He's a big man that could be the next Kane. Like, oh my God, he's gonna be the one to take the belt, or he's gonna be the one to win the Royal Rumble. And he just never does.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Bobby Lashley fan in general. Oh, hey, look who's on my TV right now as I turn around. It's Bobby Lashley and MVP.
That's what I'm saying, is that I'm not a big fan of his either, but with his size, he could be used like Kane or like the Big Show.
Yeah, but it's not just... Yeah, I guess he could be. And I think he's trying to do it, but I don't know. There's something... I don't dislike him. I just think that he has the personality of a piece of cardboard.
That's I don't know why you'd put him with Lana. Like he did so much better like when he didn't talk. All he needs is like a mouthpiece. and to, he needs like a Paul Heyman to just for him
I mean,
to destroy people.
everybody is a Paul Heyman, but only Paul Heyman can Paul Heyman. Although Zelina Vega is not doing a bad job.
All right, so what about so now where I can come in, where Seth and Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
I miss Seth Rollins' music. That's the only, like, I came in with Seth Rollins was like walking into the ring,
He had
I miss his new music.
he had new music. It was great. It sounded exactly like Bailey's. With that the choir of people just singing. But yeah, no, I think it fits for his character, and what I'm really interested in seeing is where things go, especially given Becky's announcement this evening and the way that the match ended, where McIntyre offered to shake his hand. So I don't know. I wasn't. The match was really, really good, and I would expect that from McIntyre and Rollins. I know Rollins gets a lot of crap in a lot of places, but I happen to like Rollins' work. I think that was probably one of the best matches of the night overall.
I love the back and forth quick finish of the match. It was just a great quick 3 set of moves between each guy, and then boom, it was over. I really enjoyed that.
Well, I think with the announcement of
the Iconics are back.
Oh, right now we can go pee. With the announcement of the baby, I can honestly say I don't think a belt's going on Seth anytime soon.
No, I don't think so either. But I'm interested to see where he's taking this character, because I don't necessarily dislike it. I like it. It's different.
And here's the thing. Here's the thought I had. Well,
he plays up to his nickname of CrossFit Jesus.
Yeah. So here's just the thought I had, because I wonder if they'd strapped to this kind of character, the Monday Night Messiah, not necessarily kind of what they did with Ambrose, but if they had done this gimmick with Ambrose, I wonder if he'd still be in the company.
I thought. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, he left because he hated the gimmick they strapped him with, and he just ran out his contract and left. I just wonder if they had him do something a little more interesting, exactly like what Seth is doing here, instead of trying to have him come out in a hazmat suit because all the people are dirty.
I thought this whole thing got started with Seth Rollins because he broke his hand and couldn't wrestle. He wears the glove on the one hand. I thought that started with he had injured that hand, or I thought I'd read somewhere he had injured that hand, and they still needed him on TV, so they kind of started that stable. Because remember there was when it was Akram and Rezar were attacking Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
and Seth Rollins kept saying, I didn't do it. There was a month there where Seth Rollins just didn't wrestle. He just kept being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Kevin Owens kept trying to fight him, and he kept telling him no. I thought that's how that whole thing got started, because he wears that glove on his hand. I think his hand's all left up.
That's very possible. I had not heard that before, but it wouldn't. You had?
No, I had not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I had not heard that before, but it wouldn't shock me either.
Now he's healed, but now but it's weird though, because it's now Murphy's not even really with him, and then one of Akam and Rezar, one of them is injured again, so they're off TV.
Yeah, those two, since they moved up to the main roster, they've not been able to stay healthy.
Unfortunately, I feel like it's a revival type situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's even worse than the revival, though.
I'd argue it's going from Triple H's NXT, they keep calling NXT like a developmental program, where it is just Triple H's babies. Triple H takes these wrestlers that are indie wrestlers and says, "Come on in, guys. Here's how we do things, but I want you to do what you need to do to get over." And then as soon as Vince decides to bring them over, like if the Act Like the Pain or whatever have been doing a certain moveset their whole life, then Vince brings them over to the main roster and says, "All right, you guys aren't going to do any of that shit anymore. Now you're going to do these things." And then
you're going to get over the way I want you to get over.
And then that's how knees get blown out. That's how shoulders get blown out. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what happens to Rusev Day.
Jesus.
I mean, that's how Finn Balor got hurt, right? Didn't Seth Rollins give him the buckle bomb, blew his like entire shoulder out?
No. Well,
yeah, he gave him the buckle bomb on the on the barricade, but but whether or not that was a call from higher ups, I don't know.
Yeah, if you watch Balor in NXT, the stuff he was doing with Samoa Joe was arguably way more brutal than that buckle bomb.
Well, I just mean like if Finn Balor never really did shoulder stuff, you know what I mean? Like, then you find out that's a weak point. Something like, Triple H and his quads or Kevin Nash and his knees. You know what I mean? Like, Kevin Nash can wrestle forever until he starts doing knee related, and then all of a sudden he's made out of paper mache.
Kevin Nash needs to just take 2 steps forward and he'll blow a knee.
He's got them all cleaned up now, allegedly.
I just read something. I didn't get to read the article, but back in, I think it was TNA, that Kevin Nash and Samoa Joe got into it backstage, and apparently Kevin Nash got Samoa Joe to back down, and I thought Samoa Joe was a legit badass.
He indeed is.
Yeah, I still have that with Samoa Joe.
Anyways, Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins was a good match, and I would really hate for Vince to quote unquote punish Seth Rollins for the next, let's say, 7.5 or 8 months for getting Becky pregnant, and all he's going to be is someone who challenges for the title, but just keeps getting beaten.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think last night, I don't know if it's going to be a complete turn, but I think there's going to be some change in that character going forward.
I could see that happening, especially, I think if they were going to keep the heel gimmick of Rollins going strong, they would have had him, double cross the handshake or something like that.
Yeah, and they didn't do that. Like, it was just a flat out handshake. So I don't know. It could be even maybe a situation where it leads up to Rollins just kind of floating around before the baby, and then when the baby comes, them just saying, or him just saying, "I need to go on like a walkabout" or something like that, and just going off TV and just disappearing. Like, I could, based on how that match ended and how Seth was looking at the end of the match, I can see them doing something like that where Seth is conflicted and he's got to just go.
And then the timing's perfect for it to be a surprise entrant in the Rumble and start the WrestleMania season.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, the last night reminded me almost of the Undertaker face turn back in 2003. He cut his hair short, did the whole big evil thing for a while, and it wasn't until that it was just a match on SmackDown he had with Mysterio. And it was after that match, even though he was full bore heel, he picked Ray up, patted him on the back, and you could just see him say, "Damn," and that was.
Was that Rey Mysterio? You're talking about Jeff Hardy? He did the same thing with Jeff Hardy in like a ladders match.
Yes, he did say that too with Hardy, and I was actually there for that ladder match. That was in Boston. That was one of easily the greatest things I've ever seen in the live shows that I've gone to.
I would argue also for The Undertaker, as far as I would say the past at least 10 to 15 years, it seems like he's never really been a face or a heel. he just comes out and like whatever he does, the crowd just loves. You know what I mean? Like come out and choke slam Mother Teresa, and everybody be like, "All right, yep, we still love him. Cool."
Yeah. No, I would. I agree
He's
to
a legend.
some extent, but that whole 2000, late 2002 to early 2003, when he chopped his hair and he went from American Badass to Big Evil. That in my opinion was a true heel run. But I would agree in the sense that really was his last definitive, whether you want to call it heel or face, he kind of started working both just staying down the middle once he brought back the dead man.
I was gonna say the last heel Undertaker I can definitively remember is like when he strapped Stephanie McMahon to the Ministry of Darkness symbol and Stone Cold came and rescued her. Like that's like I get what you're saying, and I'm not discounting what you're saying. I was like, but the last true thing that like the crowd might have booed the Undertaker and hated him was like that.
I mean, he was pretty hated when he kicked the shit out of Ric Flair at that Mania. Like,
oh well, that's just another one. Like Ric Flair, biggest heel ever in the history of wrestling. You know what I mean? Flaunting his value in your face, and everybody's worthless compared to him, and everybody loved him for it.
Oh yeah. In fact, it was kind of funny we talk about it because I was just thinking of that match today while watching Drew, because he did a total Arn Anderson spine buster, and just whenever I see that spine buster, it always, I probably should think of Triple H. I just immediately go back to that WrestleMania match between Taker and Flair, where Arn ran in and just gave the most beautiful spine buster to Taker.
Or on Taker. After Running the Bank last night, I watched 5 minutes of that, the last ride, and it's hard watching him get old. Like he's done growing, but his ears haven't, and he's like starting to really look like an old man.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because he's only
that.
what? He's
My
only
wife was like, no.
He's only like what? 50, 52, something like that.
I'd say closer to 60.
In the echelon of ages, he's not that old, but in this business, yeah, he's
well, he's 55 first off, so we'll meet in the middle, but 7 feet tall, 55 is like 75.
Yeah, yep.
As far as joints and all that stuff go.
Yeah. So that was the I think that wraps it up for the McIntyre Rollins match.
All 8 minutes of it?
Yeah. Once again, I think we talked about it more than it actually lasted.
It was a short pay-per-view, and that wasn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, I was, in fact, thank you for reminding me of that, Lance. One of the things I'd wanted to mention is I think this is, aside from your, what is the 1 hour show that they've been doing recently?
The Access or whatever they call
it. It was a WCW pay-per-view, and they've just brought it back as like a house show.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Arcade or something like that.
Starcade, thank you.
Yeah.
Aside from those Starcade shows, this was one of the shortest pay-per-views in my memory. It was less than 2.5 hours.
Well, there was no one women's championship match. They did the 2 Money in the Banks together when the men's and the women's both, I think, went at least for a half an hour each before, right?
Half an hour, 45 minutes, yeah.
Each, and then no Becky Lynch match, and then there was no Raw tag titles.
Yep, there was no Raw tag title. We're getting that tonight because that's the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders.
And
there's also no women's tag title match. Apparently, we've forgotten about them entirely.
they're just on
in general.
comments.
U.S. title hasn't been put on the line in a while. Andrade
And
still has that.
Intercontinental too.
Intercontinental hasn't been put on a lot. So and
Who's
understand
got the Intercontinental
that
title?
it has to do with the current situation,
Is that
and
Sammy?
I get that.
Who was
But something would have been nice.
Who's got the Intercontinental title? Is it
that Sammy?
Sami Zayn?
Sami Zayn still has it, I believe, or did he? No, because he didn't lose it to Strowman, right?
Strowman, he won it from Strowman and Reigns.
Yeah, I believe it's still Sami Zayn. But
So-
Sami Zayn hasn't been on in a while.
But the last point about the short pay-per-view is with these cinematic matches, they're very much able to trim the fat. There's no
Yeah.
press. There's no setting up. It's very much there's absolutely no breaks in the matches, like in the times.
Yeah. So one of the things I was watching somebody earlier today, and I forget who, one of the things they said about the Money in the Bank match in particular, you don't have all of that time where everybody's just lying outside of the ring and somebody's setting something up for a particular spot or not. All you have is them cutting to the next piece of action, which helps make it infinitely quicker. And to be honest with you, all the taped kind of matches that they've done, the super produced ones, dating back to WrestleMania, which is our only other pay-per-view, right? You had the Boneyard match, you had the Money in the Bank match, and you had the Firefly Funhouse match. All of those have been fantastic. WWE has been forced to outside of their comfort zone pretty much, and to come up with something new, and that's working.
Well, as long as they don't misuse it, I think that going forward, the cinematic matches could work really well for like The Undertaker. People that would benefit from it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think there should be a mix of it for the Fiend. Like I don't want it all cinematic matches like that, but if you sprinkle those in with his actual live matches, that would work wonders for him.
Oh, I agree. I think the best thing that the best lesson that they learned was when they attempted to do it before with Bray Wyatt as opposed to the Fiend. When they did the matches with Randy Orton, they did the match at the Wyatt family compound, and then they did the match,
Matt Hardy too.
the horrible holographic stuff. I think they've done an excellent job in learning from those, and then taking it and applying it to other people.
Yeah, and I'd argue that Matt Hardy was, as you said, Wade, he was kind of the originator of that with his TNA.
I mean, how far back do you want to go? Because you had Piper versus Goldust way back in the day that they started filming at a place in LA, and then they busted into the building.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't it kind of billed as like a Hollywood match or something like that?
Yeah, it was like a Hollywood street fight or something like that.
But that wasn't as produced as these other ones seemed to be. It wasn't like an entire match.
It wasn't an entire match because they ended up finishing in the ring, but they had one shot to do it. So, I mean, is it as produced as it would be today? No. I mean, I think that go in terms of what the origin of that is. I think definitely Matt Hardy with what he did with the Ultimate Edition kind of set the bar, and that was kind of I would argue that's what brought that kind of thing back. but I would say that kind of thing has been around for a while.
Yeah, no, yes, it has been around for a while. I just think that added more to it with the post production. But generally, yeah, I mean, this was great. So let's dive into the actual match here, the actual Money in the Bank match. I mean, I thought it was a hilarious start from the get go. I mean,
I loved it.
I loved everything about it.
There wasn't much about it. Yeah, I can't tell. There wasn't a spot where I looked and said no. And I know we have problems with the end of the women's match and what technically starts the men's match in the ring. My only problem that I have with it is being the arrest or either attempted murder or the actual murder.
You are breaking up horribly, man.
Versus the back in WCW after, for some unknown reason, they had...
like the weird spots. Like I said, it's weird that Asuka and Baron Corbin would even fight at all at the top of the. And you know what I mean? Like they're both heels. They're both kind of heels, and run up there, grab the like that. I mean, I understand that suspend disbelief a lot, whatever, but that and the fact that Shayna Baszler didn't even get anything, that sucked.
Yeah, so here's, given what's happened tonight, right? Because we have the benefit of having watched Raw. The way it ended with Asuka getting the championship now, because I think where Baszler has come in is that relentless heel chasing after the championship, and I'm excited to see Asuka going forward. And I think it ends with, and I think this is how, had Becky not made her announcement and had to abdicate the title tonight, I think it would have led to Baszler ultimately taking the off of Lynch. And I think that they're still trying to preserve that with Asuka as a transitional champion. So am I okay with Baszler not winning the title in that particular instance, or the match in that particular instance? Yes. The Baron Corbin Asuka thing, I think that's one of those things that in a Money in the Bank match, she's looking up, she's climbing the ladder, all of a sudden somebody grabs her hand and she punches him in the face and kicks him off the ladder. I think that's well within the context of that match, because it's an instinctual reaction, right? You're technically in a fight. If somebody is grabbing my hand, preventing me from getting to my goal, is my first instinct going to be, wait a second, let's assess the situation. Oh, there are 2 briefcases up there. Oh, I'm going to look at you. Oh, you're a different gender than me. Hey, would you like to climb up together and get 1 briefcase each? Like, you take 1, I'll take 1, and then we're both happy. Additionally, one of the pieces of feedback, Wade, that you had in the chat was you didn't like the fact that not all the female competitors were in the ring for the finish. Well, all the male competitors ended up in the ring for the finish, yeah, but at the time that Corbin went up to get the briefcase, Corbin was the only one there. So without Asuka having to send him off the ladder to delay that, then the other men wouldn't be there. Additionally, we might still have Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black alive. So far, I've only seen Rey Mysterio here, and they gave no explanation as to how he survived being thrown off a building, just like they gave no explanation how the Giant survived being thrown off the building in WCW. So, I mean, kudos for them for consistency there.
I'm wholeheartedly enjoying the memes.
Because it was pre-produced, she did not have it did not have to do he was the only man in the thing, and it had to be.
So let me ask you this: so they're both going up. What would you have expected? And I understand it's pre-produced, but it's pre-produced to be a fight. So what would you have expected her to do? Like, she's climbing up the ladder. Oh, somebody's holding my hand or bringing my hand down. Oh, look, it's someone of their gender. Sir, would you like to also climb up the ladder with me at the same time? What?
Okay, well, if it were my match and I was in charge, that's when I would have somebody come and push the ladder over with the both of them on top.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that particular ending to it, but I would say at the same time, the way that they did it served two purposes. One, to reinforce that in a fight it's bang bang, and sometimes things happen and they happen quick. So somebody's grabbing your hand, your immediate reaction is to punch them in the face. Fine. Two, it also served as a plot device to then delay the men's portion of the final to have all of the other men come up and to get the finish that you ended up getting, to have Otis at the bottom just randomly catching the briefcase.
Again, that argument holds no weight because they can stop the cameras. It wasn't a live pay-per-view. I get it. If it was live, they would have to do that in order to get everybody in position, but that had nothing to do with anything.
So wait, why is the fact that it's overly produced give them license to be like, oh, wait, no, we can stop it here and we can change this and that, and you know what I mean? Like, I understand that it's produced to a particular point, but at some point you've got to balance production with what are we actually expecting and what is the story that we're trying to tell, right? Because at the end of the day, wrestling isn't about the physical ability. It's not about how athletic this person or that person is. It's about how well you tell a story in the ring. So how does the story, how does Corbin and Asuka going up at the same time, or even, all right, the ladder gets pushed over. Well, if you're putting the belt on Asuka and Asuka takes a dive, and then you've got Corbin over there for another 5 minutes, and Asuka still ends up in that 5 minutes, ends up recovering, and then goes and gets the belt because Asuka's the person that you want to put the belt on. What story are you trying to tell there? Like, if they both go off the ladder, theoretically they should both be out for the same amount of time, and then now you've taken a person that you want to put your championship on, and you've taken them out of the match completely for that amount of time.
It was now with Asuka winning, it also was a lot on the nose at the very beginning that she just jumped on everybody and then got on the elevator while everybody else was running up and fighting. Asuka just rode the elevator to the top floor and somehow ended up winning.
She didn't ride the elevator to the top floor. She rode the elevator up a couple of floors, but like in the food fight scene, she was in the food fight scene.
Another, oh God, speaking of Paul Heyman, I mean, that was just perfection right there. It was absolute perfection.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I laughed my ass off during that whole sequence. So first of all, what I was going to say is I now understand the meme, because I watched the show today. I now understand all the memes that came out of, Baron Corbin kind of slumped over and the caption being, when you commit murder twice in one night. I absolutely loved all of those coming out. But another thing that I'd take away from this is I would 100% not mind seeing a just all-in-one Money in the Bank like live match like do it with both the women and men together, both briefcases hanging, and because I think you mentioned it. I think you mentioned it in the chat, Lance, that it was, you didn't have many of the, intergender match crossover elements, but you had them just enough to make it a little interesting.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. You had Baszler choking out Mysterio, who then gets pancaked by Jax and Otis. Right. So you definitely had spots there that you can do a lot with moving forward. And I agree with you, Nate. I think that, I don't know about doing it live. Honestly, I'm enjoying some of the produced stuff that they're doing. But yeah, let's keep going with that. I think I enjoyed the mix match challenge. I mean, I know it wasn't necessarily a huge hit because they did it on Facebook and it kind of died after the second year. But yeah, let's bring some of that back. I'm not talking like Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan in a death match. Let's bring some element of it back because it's kind of unrealistic to think that these people exist in a world and only fight with their own gender.
Yeah, and especially when you have the women instigating whatever they're going to do, then you don't have all. Then I feel like you don't have all the, rights groups screaming this, to stop this and whatnot. Dustin, you've been very quiet here the past feels like half hour or so. Your thoughts on this whole ladder match, on this whole Money in the Bank thing?
I wasn't a big fan.
Really?
Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be better than it was to me. Like I thought, like the food fight, I thought was stupid.
Doink. That's not really Doink.
Yeah.
Was that even Doink, or was it just a guy? And
just a guy.
Yeah.
Just a guy. Yeah. So it's cool that Otis won, but like, are they really going to put a world title on that dude? So it feels like kind of a waste.
Otis said if he wins, he's going to challenge for the tag titles. He said it like in some interview.
Oh, right on. Okay, that's cool.
All right. I mean, you know what? That's cool. I wouldn't mind seeing, feels like nowadays it's the, the Universal Championship is kind of like the main title, and then the WWE Championship is kind of, I wouldn't necessarily go as far as saying an afterthought, but I feel like the WWE Championship is held by more, usually, where let's exclude Brock Lesnar here, but usually more main talent, more full-time talent is what I'm trying to say. So if they had a little segment, if they had a little thing where even if it was just for a couple of weeks, maybe have Otis win the WWE Championship, maybe put one of the belts on Mandy, just to drive that whole storyline home just a little bit more. I think that would be fun, personally.
Well, they also said that people were thinking it wasn't like a rumor, but they were thinking that like Otis would give his Money in the Bank to Mandy. He'd give it to her to use to cash in.
And I could see that happening, and I wouldn't be mad at that.
Didn't they try to do that storyline already too with Mandy and Sonya Deville? Like last Money in the Bank, didn't Sonya try to literally carry Mandy to the Money in the Bank? And then Sonya got it.
She did a fireman's carry up the ladder.
Mandy.
And but this is to a I would argue that those are very different scenarios.
Okay. I mean, to a point. I think
Yes, to a
that
point.
to be perfectly honest with you, with the Money in the Bank, I would love to see it used at the tag titles at this point, just to see something that's completely different.
Yeah, and that
In
would
the Bank has been used on the tag titles, so if the
whatever
tag titles
happens,
is true, I'm all on that.
whatever happens with how they use it with Otis, I'm not going to be unhappy. And I think I'm going to like whatever they do, whether it's give it to Mandy, tag titles, or actually give him a shot at the championship. Everyone needs to be part of that statistic that of those who fail, cash-ins. So maybe he'll be another one of those, and maybe he'll be another notch on that statistic.
Yeah, it all depends on how much Vince likes. Like, Otis is funny. Otis isn't like play to the crowd funny. Otis is just like funny.
He is.
Right.
Yeah, I love him.
And he's getting over in spite of like Vince not liking the tags, in spite of whatever. So like, I don't know. I guess I don't understand why.
I heard is that Vince has actually taken a personal interest in Otis' career, and Vince is now doing creative exclusively for Otis at this point.
I would not want that.
No.
Well, I mean, if you were Otis, don't forget, Vince loves big, sweaty men. Otis is a big,
sweaty man.
One
Otis
of
is
the
not a big, muscular sweat.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that that's a possibility, that Vince has taken a personal interest in him. I mean, I'm trying to remember the whole Kevin Owens situation. I forget, was it Triple H or was it Vince who, was not happy with him?
Vince hates KO.
I think it was more, but
I thought Triple H, because Triple H brought him into NXT, and Triple H is the one that's been giving him the rub. It's then KO comes in, and Vince only likes him for his mic skills. He does not like his body, does not like, because there was a while there KO dropped probably 20 or 30 pounds, his little gut went away.
Yeah, for a little bit, and then that after his injury, he came back at full force. If you get what I mean. It also makes me think of Cassius Ohno.
Yeah, Cassius Ohno is a good talent, but I mean, I just feel like he got into NXT and just nobody had anything for him anywhere, and that sucks.
And because I saw a lot of pictures of him during his Indies run, and he used to be a pretty lean guy, and it wasn't until NXT that he packed on the weight, and it seems like he got buried after that.
Well, he had issues in his personal life at that point. I believe he had broken up with his fiance, and that's when he put on the weight. And since then, he's had trouble getting the weight off.
That's disappointing to hear. So I'm just I'm interested to see where everything goes here. So I think that wraps it up for the pay-per-view segment and our Wrasslin overall for the week. What we have a couple of things to mention. What was everybody drinking tonight?
Cherry Coke. Just Cherry Coke.
There you go. Lance?
Town Branch Bourbon.
Excellent. Dustin, what were you drinking tonight?
Just water.
It's always got to be one person.
I got a fast for a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so.
You do, right. You mentioned that. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Wait, We also just glossed over that Vince has a T-Rex skull like in his office / conference room at the fucking WWE headquarters.
I thought I had read that before, though.
I think we knew that. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
there are dead guys fighting on TV right now. Just so you know, it's Aleister Black versus Rey Mysterio.
Oh,
They both died last night.
they did both die
But
last night.
somehow here they are fighting.
Spirits are back.
with no
Hallelujah, amen.
Did you see Becky Lynch's interview about the Money in the Bank where like Vince was telling them about someone's getting thrown off, and they were all like, "You're fucking crazy, old man. We're not doing that." And like Vince threw himself off of the roof of the WWE to show them it was safe. Becky Lynch in the interview was like, "He's the craziest old man I've ever seen." Like he threw himself off of the.
Wait, when was that interview?
I just read. Maybe it was on the Bleacher Report. It was less than a week ago.
I would not doubt that one bit from
Maybe a local newspaper or something like that. She was just.
I don't know. Did you see Vince in that match? Like he did not look good.
Well, he's also crazy. Like I don't know what you want.
Well, yeah, I know he's crazy.
Maybe he didn't look good because he took a fall off a roof.
That's been it.
I did like how AJ and Daniel Bryan were both terrified of him, though.
That was hilarious. Like that,
cool.
they moved they moved the seats back to where they were, and just very, very sly getting out of that. That was great.
Also, my son asked how AJ got off from underneath that like 300, 400 pounds on the bar. He's like, "How's AJ back in there?" He's
The
7.
same way AJ survived being buried alive by the Undertaker, son. Wrestling.
All right, let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, so tonight I'm like on my last sip at this point, but I made myself a Manhattan with Woodford Reserve. So I too am all about the bourbon tonight.
Gotta love the bourbon.
Wait, I want to talk about this brewery a little bit that you posted in the chat, because it's a cool place. They do some very interesting stuff. They are all about pop culture. This is Departed Souls Brewing, and that's soul is spelled SOLES. I've seen a couple of things from them. They did a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers inspired brew recently. What was it called? Like Mega Ale or something like that, and it had like you could put 4 cans together to make a image of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord.
Awesome.
I mean, it was cool. I'm just trying to look back in their Facebook page to find out what kind of beer it actually was, and I can't find it right now. Another thing, so what you posted about was their Secret of the Brews Sour Ale, and very much play on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Secret of the Ooze. It's actually green. Like it's not just.
Looks like a blue or green Sour Patch Kid or something like that.
Yeah. This is crazy looking. Another thing they are doing is a beer called Auto Hops.
Awesome.
So, an Autobot inspired IPA. So this is. I need to go up to that shop, Lance. I know I've told you about it, but the Lazy Dog Beer Shop in Londonderry.
Indeed.
They get stuff from around the nation, and it's all craft stuff. You get judged harshly if you buy a pack of Bud Light or anything like that in this shop, as you should. So I need to check in with them.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you want to see Seth's new music, it's on right now.
No, I'm all good with that. I just want to see if there's anything I want to mention about any of the local breweries near me. Let's see. Able Ebenezer around us is opening back up, which is if you're above the IPAs, they're a great place. 603 has started their own hard seltzer brand, and that's one of the first like craft hard seltzers I've heard of. Seems like everybody's getting on that trend.
I think I shared it with some of you guys on the group chat. Maybe not that one, but I found a recipe online where the guy made ginger beer. You know, ginger, water, and sugar. He made cultures, let it set for a couple of days, and then he made ginger beer and let it ferment and made alcoholic, naturally carbonated ginger beer. I was like, I'm gonna give that a try.
Yeah, you need to let us know how that turns out. I did see that. I really enjoy those guys. That guy's videos. He's fun to watch. And if you like his channel, you should check out this channel called How to Drink. Because he mainly does just like he mainly does cocktails and stuff. He does a few things based from video games. So he made his own like Nuka-Cola and Quantum Cola from Fallout. He did stuff like Double Tap root beer from the Call of Duty series. Stuff along that vein.
Oh, sure, you name all the other ones, but you leave out where Nuka-Cola is from.
Fallout 3.
There you
Actually,
go.
I think it's been in all the Fallout games.
What is Seth Rollins doing? I don't keep going back to Robert, but it's on. He's like
That's
not.
So here's what I really like about this, because there's two things that could be happening, and I haven't had the volume up, so I don't know. Either one, he's like, holy shit, I'm a dad, and he just, character-wise, he just found out when everybody else found out. And to be perfectly honest with you, when I found out I was going to be a dad the first time, and I wasn't expecting it, I was Seth Rollins right now. The second thing that he could be doing is he could still be reeling from the loss to McIntyre last night.
And it's that one because his hair's messed up, like he's not slept or showered.
I don't know which one it is, because like I said, I've got the volume on the TV down, but I am
look at his hair.
Really intrigued right at this point in time. Especially considering that he and Buddy Murphy are fighting two dead guys.
Like, we're fighting ghosts. Like, he's like, did I take mushrooms?
Looks like yeah, mushrooms. That's good. He's the Hangover right now, right? He's
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to hijack your segment, Nate. It just right now if you're watching it, he's standing in the corner of the ring. He's not moving. Both hands are on the top rope. He's outside, and he's just staring
right at that.
He's staring at the floor, and Buddy Murphy's gone for like 3 or 4 different tags, except Ron not even blinking in his direction.
Yeah, I think he's either going through actual shock or doing a good job at portraying shock.
Well, because I have long hair, his hair is like he didn't shower and he's been up all night. It's not brushed. It's teased like a 80s hair metal, like he should be in Skid Row or something. Like it's super big, and it's not brushed or kept.
I'm definitely checking this out on demand tomorrow. So do we want to move into the toy segment here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Why not?
All right. So let's do our usual thing. Go around. Lance, lead us off. Anything new this week?
To paraphrase the African American gentleman from Spaceballs, I ain't got shit.
Oh shit.
Fun fact, that was Tim Russ. If anybody here is Star Trek fans, He played Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager.
What?
Whoa,
I
nerd,
always
nerd,
thought
settle down.
that was him.
Yeah.
Now I love that movie even more now.
Yep. Yeah. Just a fun little bit of trivia. Wade, you definitely got some stuff this week.
I've had a weird week. I got the Iron Man diecast Mark 7 hot toy. The hot toys are a fickle thing because like I bought it when it first came out and I had it for a couple months and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not in love with this, and I sold it. And then like I didn't have it for like 2 weeks and I was like, I'm the biggest idiot in the world. So like it just I bought it again, like I haven't lost any money. You know what I mean? Just I got a plush of the child. Walmart.
Very nice.
I got two Guy Fieri Funko Pops. And one of my best friends is a big fan of the Thunderbolts. I was at Walmart yesterday and I found him Crossbones, the Mach 1, Marvel Legends, and the Maximum Carnage end caps at Walmart. Mine has it up. And it's got these like Venom slurpers for like Venom Hulk, Venom, Anti-Venom, Venom Groot, Anti-Venom Groot. And they're filled with slime. And when you squeeze them, they like spit out the slime, and there's a little figure inside, and then they suck the slime back up. So to complete his collection, and I found all the ones. He's like, pick the up for me, I'll pay you back. And it's like $86 and stuff. It's like, all right.
That's pretty cool, actually.
While we started our podcast, I was opening the hot toy, and I've been putting batteries in it while I've been talking to you guys. He's sitting right next to me, got him all posed up and lit up and stuff.
Now the Iron Punisher that you were sharing in the chat, you kind of broke up there a little bit, but was that something you got this week, or have you had that for a little bit now?
I've probably had it about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, all right. That thing's gorgeous.
Oh, he's really cool, and I've been some of the pictures I have here. I've been trying to play around. Like I have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider, so I have like a light up Ghost Rider head. So I was trying to see if it fits on there to kind of do like the Ghost Rider, and nope, the ball pegs don't line up.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
Right.
I had seen some people putting the Netflix Frank Castle head on it, and I think they were saying that looks just wonky and big, out of proportion. Have you tried doing that? Do you have the?
I don't have the Frank Castle Netflix. There's a disconnect because like not only are the head sizes and the peg holes and stuff like that different, but like I would say the Frank Castle Netflix, the Netflix has it's like a neck and head together, like that, I think. But these Iron Man, the head is one piece and then the neck is a separate piece. So you can change up the head, but like in the Punisher, like that's his head. Wear a mask and have a. So like to try to keep them and put them together, it's kind of weird. But there is, you can go on Netflix, not Netflix, you can go on eBay and find a bunch of third-party heads where other people sculpt them, and like like $30 or $40. Like
yeah, and a lot of them look really good.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Dustin, how about yourself?
Wow. I don't have anything physically in my hands this week, but but like I said, I still have that Gangster's Kingdom figure coming. That's just sitting in customs right now. I got the Toys Mage Beast Wars Megatron coming, sitting in customs right now.
Is that the KO of the MP?
Yeah, the one with David K's voice clips and stuff.
Oh yeah. How much was that? That was only like what, $100, $150?
$119, I think.
Yeah, that's
way better than $350.
Oh, way
And
better.
then while we were sitting here, and I was a little quiet, I was ordering the Infinite Transformation Dinobot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I watched now this isn't saying much, but I watched Ben's review of that,
Yeah.
and Ben is a source of constant frustration because he usually always gets pre-production samples and
Right.
then never reviews what an actual like production sample is like with any tweaks or anything
Yeah.
like that.
I saw him break it.
Yeah, he was saying how it wasn't very good quality. But again, pre-production sample, so
Right, so
who the
I
hell
watched-
knows?
I watched his, right, and I was like, oh, fuck that. I'm just going to buy the official one, come up with the money for it. And then I watched some more videos, and every other video was like, this thing's really good. It's just, pretty much just as good as the original one.
From what I understand, is it's kind of like the KO Megatron, where like the paint isn't as pretty as the official. But I mean,
that the Infinite Transformation Megatron is fantastic, like really good.
I'm only talking about the Beast Wars stuff. I'm not talking about other.
Sorry.
Yeah. People were saying with the Beast Wars Megatron, and I could see it from a couple of reviews myself. The paint is not as good as Takara's paint jobs they've been doing on the Beast Wars lines, but for what you save, it is a more than welcome trade-off.
Yeah, dude. It's like, the Dinobot on Big Bad Toy Store right now is like $270 something, and then Megatron is $319. So I paid $119 for Megatron and $93 for Dinobot.
Yeah. So
I bought both of those officials when they first came out. Like, I buy them, and then like you watch reviews or you see some of the same thing. What's going on with that Warpath right now? It's almost like these toy companies are getting in the way of themselves. Like, in order to make it more complex and more, like, they're just developing thinner, smaller, lighter. Like, let's make it cheaper. Let's make it more complex. Like, you need to stop doing it.
yeah,
Right.
let's make it complex for the sake of complexity, because we know these fans are older now. So if you're older, you obviously must love things that are more complicated.
3 hours transforming something at your kitchen table, praying you don't break it. Exactly.
In the words of Stone Cold,
I'll be honest with you. I think that as far as third-party Transformers, I think third-party Transformers peaked as far as a good mix of price, character, and complexity all together were like the Fans Toys and Gigapower Dinobots.
Yeah.
Like, they hide everything really well. They the transformation is intuitive but not overly produced. It's not like a 67-step transformation.
Yeah, especially with the Dinobots, it's like, there's you really kind of have to follow the formula of the G1 figures there to get the shape, the silhouette, and everything right. And you can just add all these small nuances that just take it over the edge and enhance it.
Oh, they like hide the tails inside the legs and things like that. Like, that stuff I appreciate. You flip. I think it's the Gigapower ones where like you flip the like Stomp's legs or Sludge's legs like to the inside.
Yeah, and it fills out the gap and shit. Yeah, that shit's nice.
Like, and like, that's awesome. But it's just one of these, like the new Masterpiece Optimus Prime. Like, wow, this looks really nice. And then you're like, why does it have to have all these parts, and why is it $500?
Yeah, that's why I got the Transform element. Like, there was no way I was paying that for an Optimus Prime, like, not having it. That's statue money.
It's just I don't know. Like, I've really pared down my, I'm looking at my masterpieces right now. I have the Fans Toy Swoop, and then I have Masterpiece Ironhide, Masterpiece Soundwave, and then the new Masterpiece Bumblebee, which was like an impulse buy with Christmas money. But like, I think my favorite Masterpiece Transformer probably is Soundwave. Like, I don't know how Takara could do a better job.
No, that figure is pretty much perfect. Yeah.
He's one of only 4 masterpieces that I kept.
Soundwave.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
I had kept mine sometimes. It was
Now,
him and Ultra Magnus and Hot Rod, because I'm a huge Hot Rod fan.
Dustin, go back one sec. You were talking about the Transform Element Optimus?
No, yeah, I was sorry.
And you were saying that's statue money for that figure?
No, for MP44. Like I bought.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Because like I'm not paying statue money for a fucking Transformer.
What did T retail for? Like 125, 140 or something like that?
I got mine for like 112 from Terry.
Okay.
I got mine for 99 shipped off of TF Safari.
Nice.
I mean, like, is Takara just pricing themselves out of the game? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
They are.
I feel like that is definitely what's happening these days. And Transform Element, I like anyone who knows me knows that the masterpiece aesthetic is just not my personal preference. I don't like things that take 20 minutes to transform, but goddamn, I could not stay away from that TE01. It is just, it's perfection, and it's not stealing someone's design. Like, they came up with that transformation all themselves.
And it's clean as fuck. Like,
in both modes.
Yeah, super
it's
clean.
Insane.
I'll send you guys a picture of what I got. I went with, I sold my MP10 and I went with, been waiting, and I went with the 3.0. Like, it doesn't transform, but I mean, like Bobby Skullface put it, like, how often do you post something and it's robot or it's like alternate?
Yeah.
Right. I'm waiting on mine to come in from TNS. They got it. I paid my invoice a while back, but with all the shipping restrictions, it's sitting over in Hong Kong somewhere.
I think with my sideshow rewards points and stuff like that, I think I only paid like $140 for it or something like that.
I remember you talking about that. I see we both also have the Ultrazord pop.
Listen,
I dig it.
I know Funko Pops are like a 4-letter word in our community, but if you can't find interest in at least 1 or 2 pops, then like you're a heartless collector. Like I have
exactly
Warrior and Voltron. Like,
yeah,
I have a Space Ghost.
Yeah, exactly.
I have Vault Boy and Dancing Groot.
Yeah, like, all these people that say they hate pops, like you're telling me there's not one pop that like doesn't speak to you as a child or as an adult.
I don't hate pops. I hate pop collectors because they're
Beanie Baby collectors. You mean? Like
sure.
the new?
Yeah, because I have one guy who like texted me. He's a friend of mine. He sent me a message. Was like, hey, you want to see my collection so far? And I was like, sure. And he showed it to me. It's a bookcase. Everything is turned on its side. You can't actually see the figures. They're all on their side, so you can see which pop it is. And there's so many, like, that's like the way to do pops, and it frustrates me to no end.
Oh, just where you see the serial number or whatever number it is?
Just the image on the side of the box. That's all you see.
Yeah.
You don't actually see the pop itself. And it's where I love, there are these, they're unicorns among the community, but there's people who collect and display out of box. And that's way more fun to see.
Right.
Anyway, that was a big tangent there. Yes, this.
Yeah, you ripped on an entire collector base, man.
That's fine.
Are you trying to get us heat like before the Briarfest episode?
Nate just alienated half of our listening audience.
Yep. All 2 people who collect pops. Yep. So yeah, this 3.0. Optimus looked awesome. I don't know. It's. I'm not knocking any of the non-transforming Transformers. Of the stuff I collect, I like knowing that it can transform. I may not do it too often, but I like knowing that it can. And I have been, because it's only like $60 or so, I've been looking at that Aogi one. It's not quite as refined as the 3-0 in articulation.
Yeah.
Especially with that hidden spine that 3-0 has in there. I mean, that's just mastery right there. And but it's something I thought about, and yeah.
So Spine reminds me. Have you guys heard the Spine song?
No.
All right. So Aerial Knots. If you look them up on YouTube, they've done things like if you've ever watched that video where Bane battle raps somebody and then kills them. Bane outtakes, right? So they do Bane outtakes. They did a whole reimagining of Star Wars where basically midichlorians are like meth. It's hilarious. But they also have a couple of videos for Transformers. And in one of them, I think it was their one for the last night, right before Optimus flies off. No, the last night was the last one, Age of Extinction. So right before Optimus flies off at the end scene, they just redid that whole thing. And they have Optimus sing this song, and it's very Michael Bay about ripping out somebody's spine, and it's hilarious. I understand that ripping out somebody's spine may not initially come out as hilarious, but I promise you, that entire video is wonderful.
I'll have to look it up this week.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch Epic?
I'm sorry?
Do you guys watch Epic Rap Battles of History?
I used to watch that religiously. I haven't caught it in a while. But
they got away for a while, and they just came back.
Yeah, they were off for like a year, but recently the ones recently are like Freddy Krueger versus Wolverine and Joker and Pennywise, and
yep,
there's some pretty good ones.
I need to catch up on that stuff. So as far as myself this week, the only thing that I got in was I think I mentioned it last week that I paid for it, but I actually got it in this week, and that is another one of the Minicon Saber teams. Amazing deal. A guy was just looking to kind of rehome his collection and not, make a ton of money off of it. So I was able to pick up the Armada Star Saber team for $10 shipped, and it is. I have it in the hand of the 35th anniversary Siege Optimus, and it's like it was made for that figure. Just everything works so well.
Nice. Don't forget, you also swung a deal to get the Dark Star Saber as well.
I did swing a deal, and I also, thanks to Lance here, for some grade A bourbon. We'll be getting the Dark Star Saber, and he did not want the Knock and Scar from the cassette tape collection that just came out on Hasbro Pulse, and I myself am getting that Legends double dealer, and as someone who also has G1 double dealer, gotta have Knock and Scar with them.
Are there any Minicon teams you're missing that you need besides those like rare Star Saber? Are there other Minicon teams you missed out on?
Honestly, I can't think of any right now. I mean, I'm such a fan of those Saber teams, and after the Dark Saber, I will have the 4 main U.S. releases of that. I think I mentioned this last week, but like there are at least 3 or 4 that were Japanese exclusive during the Micron Legends line, and you know, good. You'll probably find a living unicorn before you'll find those.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like, remember there was like a couple of gestalts that were mini cons. They were like the two teams that were 3 guys each. There was like
there's
gun, shield.
There was one called Perceptor. You also had things like the Skyboom Shield and Requiem Blaster.
Yeah, those ones. Do you have all those?
I don't, but I'm not going down that rabbit hole yet. That's not to say that I won't. But as of right now, I just I really want those sabers, and they're so cool.
You say rabbit hole. Are they expensive and hard to come by, or no?
The sabers are. The other ones not as much. Like this. I think the Skyboom Shield is pretty common, pretty easy to put together. The Requiem Blaster 2 is fairly easy. The sabers are what retain the most value, especially the Armada Star Saber. The Dark Saber not as much. The Energon Saber, yes, and the one that Dustin hooked me up with is also pretty hard to put together because it wasn't sold in one team like the other 3. It was sold in 3 separate 2-packs, so you had to find and put those together. Yeah, essentially. And the Chaos Saber, that one is in the hands of 35th anniversary Megatron, and that works so well. It's called the Chaos Saber because it's just like 9 different colors and nothing matches, and it's chaos, and it's wonderful.
So it's the generation 2 color scheme.
A little bit, yeah. I'm trying to think. Did I put?
When the minicons were a big thing, the girl I dated in high school, she hated that I collected toys, but her mom was 100% in on like my hobby. Like the girl hated toys, and their mom bought me like the was it Armada? Not Armada. She bought me Armada Prime. She bought me the Optimus Prime in Omega Prime.
Oh, Omega Prime.
Yeah, like she bought me all the minicon teams. Like my girlfriend hated me and hated her mom because her mom's like, I got you Christmas present. And I had like 30 things under the tree, like toys except for her mom. Like I was like, really? She just went ham and bought me all of them.
And that is why Wade married her mom.
I wish.
So Wade, I just sent in the chat a picture of the 3 teams that I have lined up there, and as you can see, the really wonky colored one, that's the Chaos Saber. So that was the acquisition. Of course, we've kind of talked about Spawn already, and that's we'll talk about that more as more news comes in, because over the next 6 months, I think we're going to see some more interesting developments. Especially with the way Todd is doing stuff.
He already said there's going to be more add-ons to the figure. Basically, just for getting at the like $3.5 million mark, he was like, "I'm going to throw more stuff in. He just doesn't know what it is yet."
Yeah, I'm excited.
So give him more.
And Wade, it was your goddamn voice that was rattling around in my head 3 hours before that thing ended. And so if this thing's a piece of shit, I'm blaming you.
That's fine. I bet you if it's a piece of shit, you'll still be able to sell it for a profit.
Yeah. But I don't think it will be. I think it's. I couldn't bring myself to double up like Dustin did. But
I wasn't gonna at first, but then like I wanted all them accessories and shit.
yeah. I mean, that's that I'm not a massive fan of the modern Spawn. I don't care for the gauntlet. I don't care for the big ass boot. I said it before. My representation that I always go to is the HBO animated movie, which is voiced by Keith David, and he's just one of my favorite actors and voice actors, and he's got a voice you could just listen to for hours.
Right.
And that's why I love it. I've never read an issue of the comic. I've never owned one of the McFarlane figures, 95 to now. And
I had Ninja Spawn. I remember Ninja Spawn.
I had a lot of the medieval Spawn and some like cyborg kind of stuff.
That I remember because I remember that
always been around for me.
Yeah, I remember McFarlane did a series of Spawn stuff that was all like mechs and stuff like that, and they ended up they wound up at Big Lots for like $5 a piece. But at that point, I was like super focused on only Transformers, so I was like, "Oh, they're robots. That's cool, but it's not Transformers, so I'm not going to collect it."
Right.
So
I got the 2 also for the display because like I can have classic with the cape on, with like the necro energy, and then do the modern with the no cape, dual wielding the big cannons and shit, big guns.
I'm excited about like I wasn't overly fond of the grenade weapon that modern comes with, but I love the like M4 with the grenade launcher that classic comes with.
Yeah. I think
I love
classic
that.
gets the sword now too.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Classic gets the sword. And yeah, there are elements of both that I like, and maybe it would have been fun to just like get 2 and Frankenstein the perfect one. But you know what? I'm happy with what I decided, and like I said, if it goes south, then I can just blame Wade.
Right.
Whatever. That's fine. If you don't like it, you just sell it to me for cost. And I'll put it on eBay and sell it for $500.
There you
go. Right.
Or if you don't like it, you just box it up, and when we do a Secret Santa, you just give it to somebody and make them cry.
Yeah, fucking A, right? Give it to
Jim. Every year. Give it to who?
Jim.
Yeah. I told Ryan I called dibs on Jim this year. I was like, I'm gonna try my best to make him cry.
I don't know, you try it, man. But you did help me with the Hulk on that. You wouldn't have cried that bad if you didn't help me out with getting that Hulk to him.
Good. Fuck yeah. I tell Ryan every year, like, tell me who's somebody you think that's down in the dumps that needs a pick me up and needs to do a live unboxing. And this last year was that the hell's his name? Samsel?
Yeah.
I got him a Fans Toys Dino Bob, but he wore a mask the entire time, and Ryan yelled at him. He's like, "We want to see you cry."
Yeah, I don't know. So, are you guys definitely in for the THC Secret Santa this year?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make somebody cry with a hot toy probably.
Yeah, okay. It's hard not to do it because it's kind of fun. Like if I can afford to
make a grown man break.
Like wait, do what?
Make a grown man break.
Exactly. Like if I can afford to put the waterworks on a grown man, that makes it the whole thing. I don't have to get anything, and it makes it worth it for me.
Yeah. No, it's always been fun, and I think that's why I'm sticking around so much, is because I've had a lot of fun doing it. Anyway, so we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I know last year Ryan got super frustrated.
Yeah.
And
so there was a lot of stuff going on that made it hard for people, wasn't it? Something happened where it was like hard for people to get to the post office.
Oh yeah, well, it was the timing, because it was he only gave people like something like 5 weeks instead of a month and a half like he usually does.
Right.
So it was very short on timing. And that was the big problem. There's also just a huge amount of people, just like random people who did it and then whined about not getting sugar daddies.
Oh yeah, I hate that.
It's amazing when you get someone who goes above and beyond, but it's not guaranteed. So don't whine, moan, and complain about it.
Did you guys know that Reddit does a Secret Santa every year?
I did not.
Last year, the girl from Michigan, not local to me, her Secret Santa was Bill Gates.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
He's one of the Secret Santas. Like, so apparently he gets a team on scouring your social media, finding everything, like, because you give what you like, and then he gets on your social media and gets on all your stuff and finds out, like the girl got like all the Hogwarts Legos, like apparently just a shit ton of stuff, a couple $1,000s worth of Secret Santa stuff.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Oh.
Well, Bill Gates in general is always doing stuff like that, especially with what's going on right now. He's got multiple foundations set up, and they're looking for, they're developing vaccines and cures and providing them to places that need them and things like that. So, I mean, hearing that doesn't necessarily surprise me because Bill's always been super altruistic.
Yep.
That's fine, but I'm saying like Reddit Secret Santa, like Reddit is still for the most part kind of an underground thing.
Yeah, I mean it's not as cesspoolish as 4chan, but you're not.
But Bill Gates to be part of it and participate in the Secret Santa, you know what I mean? Like that's such a cool thing.
It is. It really is. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll wait for more updates on the Kickstarter thing. And with that, I think that wraps up tonight's episode.
Whoop whoop.
So everybody, as I reiterate, right now we're posting this to YouTube, and because of that, we are beholden to the YouTube gods. So please give us that thumbs up, if you enjoy what we're doing. Give us comments. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Throw a subscribe. That helps us out. Anyway, for the BTW Podcast, I'm Nate Gleason, joined by Lance Johnson.
Be careful jogging, everyone.
Dustin Hayward.
Adios.
And our newest member, Wade Fry.
See ya.
Have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you next week.